Welcome back to the channel everyone, and today I'll be doing another storyline video here on the channel. This will be the part 2 of the Ultimis crew's journey and their storyline and what they have been doing from the beginning. So I did a part 1 of this. I would prefer you to watch part 1 before you watch part 2. I am doing more storyline videos as well as challenge videos here on my channel, so make sure you go and check it out. There will be a load of different sections of Black Ops videos, but for now, let's just get straight into this part 2 of the Ultimis crew storyline. Let's go. As Ultimis Richtofen tried to find a way to build the Argatham device, he managed to siphon a piece of the souls of his 3 test subjects into a processed rock of element 115 using the real vessel. He used his own for the 4th soul required. As the souls were injected to the rock, it transformed and created a shard of glass. Ultimis Richtofen, by forging the souls to the element 115, he bound his soul and the ones from Nikolai, Takeo and Dempsey to the Aether across all dimensions. All their different versions were now connected to the Aether through time and space. After learning from Harvey Yenner that Maxis didn't mass-produce the Wonderwaffe DG2 as promised, Ultimis Richtofen started plotting to destroy Maxis and his daughter. He vowed that he would no longer continue to work on Maxis's undead army. With the war over, Maxis returned to the Der Rise in October 1945 and ordered Ultimis Richtofen to do likewise so they might continue their work on the matter transference device. Several days later, Ultimis Richtofen arrived at Der Rise with his test subjects and Samantha. On October 12th, Groff contacted Ultimis Richtofen to inform him the MPD had been powered up and was waiting the conduit. On October 13th, 1945, during a series of teleportation test trials, Maxis used Samantha's dog Fluffy as test subject. Fluffy, now changed, was teleported back into the chamber. When Samantha saw Fluffy, she ran inside the teleporter. Maxis chased after her, and Ultimis Richtofen sealed them in the test chamber before teleporting them away. While Maxis was teleported to the crazy place where he learned the power to merge with electricity, Samantha was teleported to Griffin Station. She ran inside the MPD where she became corrupted by the Dark Aether. When he learned about the incident, Ultimis Richtofen ordered Groff to teleport Maxis to the moon to coax Samantha out of the device. Maxis approached the MPD and persuaded her to come out. Once she did, Maxis gave the instructions to kill them all before giving himself and merging with the technology of Griffin Station. Samantha then entered the MPD and unleashed the undead upon the base, killing everyone involved with the organization. The next day, an outbreak occurred at the Der Rise facility. H-Porter activated the LAN before killing himself. Ultimis Richtofen returned to the facility where he awoke Ultimis Dempsey, Takeo and Nikolai. With no recollection of who they were or who Richtofen was, they agreed to help him. The 4 would become known as Ultimis. And that is the story of how they met, how everything happened back then. I am now going to move on to the part where they've travelled to different maps. So let's go. Several days later, Ultimis travelled to the Rising Sun facility where an outbreak occurred. In the facility, Ultimis discovered the corpse of Peter McCain, who died during a parachute incident after being ordered by Cornelius Parnell to go to the facility. Ultimis Richtofen also discovered his diary, who contained his research concerning element 115, and began to formulate a plan to defeat Samantha. A week later, Ultimis returned to the Der Rise facility, where Ultimis Richtofen planned to use the teleporter to return to the moon and confront Samantha. However, the Wonderwaffe DG2 overloaded the teleporter and sent Ultimis to the Kino facility in 1963, causing Richtofen to drop his diary, which was later recovered by the Soviet Union. This marked the first time Ultimis travelled across space and time, resulting in temporal rifts occurring across dimensions. In light of these developments, Monty felt obligated to step in and begin to make changes in the background across time. He helped Group 935 invent perk machines. He also added chalk drawings to the walls. When Ultimis arrived at the Kino facility on October 28, 1963, they located a lunar lander and flew to the Ascension facility. In the few weeks prior to the Ultimis' arrival at the Ascension facility, a Russian scientist from the Ascension group named Yuri Zavosky became corrupted by Samantha's voice after reading Ultimis Richtofen's diary. Yuri tricked his colleague Dr. Anton Gersh into activating a Gersh device. The rift created allowed Samantha to travel through it, also absorbed Gersh, destroying his body and trapped him inside the Casimir mechanism. Yuri was also absorbed and transported to the Pentagon. When Ultimis arrived at the Ascension facility on November 6, 1963, they found the outbreak had occurred and Gersh begged them to free him from the Casimir mechanism. At the same time, in the Pentagon, John F. Kennedy, Robert McNamara, Fidel Castro, and Richard Nixon was discussing a future alliance between the United States and Cuba to fight Samantha, when an outbreak occurred inside the building. Yuri, who was responsible for a prior outbreak in the Pentagon, was sent by Samantha to thwart their survival. After Ultimis freed Gersh from the Casimir mechanism, he sent them to their next destination before beginning his travels across space and time. With the departure of Ultimis from the Cosmodrome, both outbreaks were contained and Yuri was arrested. Ultimis arrived in a locked room at the Siberian facility on March 17, 2011, where George A. Romero, who had stumbled upon Group 935's research, was making a movie with Sarah Michelle Gellar, Robert Englund, Danny Trejo, and Michael Rooker. An outbreak soon occurred and George Romero was turned into a zombie. The actors discovered the Vril device for Ultimis, who were then teleported to their next destination. The fate of the cast and crew remained unknown, but 6 weeks later, Romero's assistant Sally was teleported to Shangri-La and trapped inside a time loop while looking through Romero's research about Group 935. As they continued their journey, Ultimis arrived at Shangri-La on April 25, 1956, with the help of two explorers trapped inside the time loop, Brock and Gary. Ultimis acquired the Focusing Stone. Now in possession of the Vril vessel and the Focusing Stone, Ultimis Richtofen was ready to return to the moon. Ultimis Dempsey, however, fired the 3179 GGB-215 while inside the teleporter. This caused Ultimis to travel to the Pentagon before the November 6th outbreak had occurred. Meanwhile, Yuri was sent by Samantha to release the zombies kept in the Pentagon before being sent to November 6th. Once in the Pentagon, Ultimis traveled to Groom Lake, Nevada, where they used a teleporter to reach the moon. Once inside Griffin Station on October 13, 2025, Ultimis reactivated the MPD, which revealed Samantha as she was when she entered the device back in 1945. Ultimis Richtofen then used a terminal to power up the Vril device and merge it with the Focusing Stone. However, he encountered Maxis inside the terminal, who tried to stop him. However, Ultimis Richtofen was able to complete his grand scheme and switch his soul with that of Samantha's, gaining full control over the Aether, while Samantha was trapped inside Richtofen's body. Ultimis Dempsey, Nikolai and Takeo then decided to help the disembodied AI Maxis stop Ultimis Richtofen. They launched 3 missiles at the Earth in order to sever the link between the Earth and the Aether. However, the calculations were made in haste, causing catastrophic destruction to the Earth. Meanwhile, in 2035, Victus was able to activate all 3 polarization devices in Maxis' favour. Maxis, now corrupted by the Dark Aether, returned to the moon in 2025 and plucked body to join him in Agartha, before destroying the Earth and all its inhabitants. As a last bit of revenge, Maxis trapped Ultimis Richtofen's soul in a zombie, creating undead Richtofen, leaving his body in catatonic state. Ultimis Dempsey, Takeo, Nikolai and Richtofen's catatonic body were then accidentally teleported back to Groom Lake on August 3rd, 1963, where they were captured by Purnell and kept in Hangar 4 to be experimented on. Several months later, on October 13th, undead Richtofen stepped out of a portal from the empty Earth and remerged his soul with Ultimis Richtofen. waking him from his coma. Sometime later, Premise teleported inside Hangar 4, where they freed and met with the Ultimus selves. Nikolai, now assuming the role of leader of the group, revealed to Ultimus there will be a war to be fought, a great war, before teleporting away from the hangar. And there you go, that is the story of the Ultimus crew. If you enjoyed that, make sure to like and subscribe. Put a comment down of what you would like me to do next. I think maybe the next one I'll be doing is the Premise story or the Victor story. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye and see you all on the next one.